All right. I'm gonna, as usual, I'm gonna check my other services that I broadcast to and make sure that they're all muted. Services that I broadcast to. Oh.
There you go.
Like that one.
Yes, sir.
All right. That one's muted. Now. This one. Where's the speaker icon? Oh, there it is. All right. All right. So we're good. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. I am so very sorry for the delay in getting us started. When we were planning all this, I knew it was scheduled for 8, but somewhere I got hit by a space-time continuum, and
I hate it when that happens.
Something told me that we weren't starting till 9, so I thought I had more time than I did. So I was like, oh my gosh, good gracious me, oh my. All right. Thanks for your understanding, for your flexibility. Welcome, Gregory Levita.
Hey, Greg.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Yes, sir.
Now we got some great stuff to come. We've got John Harvey with us, a very special, or is it Hervey? Hervey.
It's Hervey. Yes, sir.
From Beyond Time Inc.
Yes, indeed. So I'm glad to be on, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah, of course. I just wish I had you on sooner. Let's see. I think maybe we had some kind of scheduling conflicts or something at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, too much real world things get in the way.
Yeah.
Like day job and how dare it.
Yeah, how dare it.
You know?
Yeah.
Got comic shows. Hey, Doc Hogg, what's going on, buddy?
Welcome. Hey, gents, says Doc Hogg. It's like, you know, every now and then I'm trying to back a campaign and then it gets interrupted by a job. It's like, what the hell?
It's like, come on.
The nerve they have of having me come into work.
It's like, don't they realize the whole point of the job is to be able to fund these things that I'm trying to do and these things I'm trying to back? I mean, stay in your lane.
Yeah, seriously. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So we're on the same wavelength. So actually, would you mind, since this is your first time here, would you mind taking a moment and just share, you know, how you even got to this point, how you even got to creating your own crowdfunded comic book? Well, actually, this is your second one.
Well, before the other campaign I did was actually a short film with a friend based on the comic book characters.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, so a buddy of mine who I went to USC with, he was in the film school. And I'd been, you know, I'd already kind of put the comics together and he loved it. And he's like, you know, we're gonna make a short film out of this. And I'm like, we are? That's awesome. You know? He's like, so we ran a campaign, we ran it on Indiegogo and we ran it on Kickstarter. And I guess the video is already down for that. We had Robin Shu, who's Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat in the short, and we had Angela Fong, who was a WWE diva, and just a great cast of folks. If people go to if you want to see the 20-minute short, it's up on my YouTube page. If you go to at Beyond Time Inc., you can watch all 20 minutes of it. Appreciate it if you guys
holy crap,
subscribe, follow.
BeyondTimeInc.com.
Yeah, so it should be just Beyond Time Inc. If you go to Yahoo, if you go to if you go to YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. All right.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube. So my website is Beyond Time Comics. We can look at that afterwards, but if you go to YouTube, go to Beyond Time Inc. And I have a couple of nuggets in there that I think people will enjoy watching. One is that 20-minute short film, and then we put like a 10-minute animatic together for another property. So just some fun stuff to watch that we put together. but that was definitely. I mean, you want to talk about, almost not knowing what you're getting into. So maybe it's when you slam it all together. Beyond Time, INC.
Yeah.
No, we exist. Here's more. It's more space-time continuum stuff, man. I really have issues. I think Reed Richards is messing me up.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, he's always getting himself into trouble.
I know. Try putting the INC right next to the time and see if we can. I know I exist somewhere because we've got like a follower.
Oh,
so there it is. See, we've got
this one right here, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's mark all notifications.
So that one right there, that 22-minute one that was right at the top, that's actually that is the film. So it's 22 minutes. But,
oh my gosh.
But you can watch the opening if you want really quickly. It has Robin Shou in there doing some awesome kung fu.
Wow, you actually got this talent to work on your film?
It's hilarious. I met Robin Shou. I live in Houston now. We've been here for a year, but before that, I was born and raised in California.
Oh.
And he's an awesome dude. I met him at Bally's. Doesn't exist anymore, but I met him at Bally's. And it's like, what are you going to say if you meet Robin Shou? You're either going to say Liu Kang or you're going to say Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And you're not going to say Mortal Kombat. You go Mortal Kombat. But the thing is, like, there's some actors and famous people that for some reason they hate the role that made them famous, but he totally embraces it. He totally loves it. So you can't help but love him because you're like, because Liu Kang is a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're just like, dude, you're freaking Liu Kang.
Yeah, for sure.
So just a nice dude, and then he got to know him over the course of time, and then with this project, he was willing to jump on board and really lend his services because people like him get paid very well, in like ways that I could never pay him. So it was awesome.
Doc says, yeah, those pesky things known as jobs.
Yeah, but hey, Doc, the reason I have that job is I just backed your book yesterday. Doc Hogg's book came out yesterday.
Tilt 2.
You guys don't have it. Tilt 2, you need to get it. If you don't have Tilt 1, you're missing out. You need to get 1 and 2. I'm looking forward to it, Doc.
Let's see here.
So that's kind of a mini story about the short film that we did with Robin Shou and with Angela Fong. That was a lot of fun. That was the first campaign, but honestly, my friend, he's the one that really ran the campaign. Like he kind of was like, do this, do that, but he was really the brains behind it.
Uh-huh.
This in terms of the comic book campaign that we're running now, this was really kind of my first foray into running a campaign of my own. And people have been exceptionally generous because I did everything to shoot myself in the foot. I literally threw the campaign together and went live. And people were just like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, but I got 29 more days to get this thing done.
You didn't get the feedback and input from your buddy who ran the other campaign?
So he's got some other awesome projects. He's been working on a short film called Olympia 2. So he was like really busy working on his other film. So I just hopped into it. I was like, I'm looking, because I buy a lot of indie books.
Uh-huh.
So you think I'd have enough sense to know how this thing works. But I was like, oh man, I see all these books. My wife's like, how much you buy so many books? I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I was just like, oh man. So I hopped in, and then I realized, I've done this totally backwards. So it's like people don't know who in the world I am. They don't know me from Adam. They don't know the book. So working backwards, got on shows, people like yourself. Doc Hogg helped out a lot. John Malin helped out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great. It's funny getting on John's show. Because let me tell you, if you don't have your stuff together, and I did not have my life together when I got on John's show. And John will tell you all about it. He's a great guy. So I'm just getting on there, it's going to be great. And he's just like, dude, what's up with your campaign with this? What's up with that? Man, how did you just launch? So he's just telling me, I'm just sitting there like, But he was really helpful. So I mean, I changed some things on the fly as a result. People were really generous. They hopped on board, and we at least got the book up to where it is now. So we were able to, get the campaign successful, and the production is done. So now I just got to get the books out to folks, which we've done a lot of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So, welcome, Eric McIntyre. Hey.
Hey, Eric. What's going on, man?
Is this a new Black Tiger book? I'm reading the first one right now and loving it.
No, so this is the same one that you have, brother, but the new one, it's coming soon. The production is everything except for the lettering is done on the new one. So wow. Q1, we're going to launch that next year because next month I'm going to launch something different.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to keep the ball rolling, but I'm glad you're loving it, Eric. I really appreciate that, man. Because I appreciate people just taking a flyer on the book, like, oh, okay, well, looks cool. I'll give it a go. And the community, like folks like Eric, they've been generous and they've given the book a go.
Nice. Let's see here.
And I actually have, so I was in the San Gabriel Valley. I was actually born in Inglewood, but then answering Eric's question, but then I lived most of the time near Pasadena.
Mm-hmm.
And was out there pretty much until this time last year when we moved out to Houston.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I have hardback version. This is just the proof of the hardback version. We just got it. And the softback. Eric's reading the softback because the softback we had finished first, and then the hardback. There's just a couple of things in this proof that I have to get corrected. And then once the proof is corrected, then we'll start sending out the hardback books. But let me see if I can do this. You get a good amount of reading. It's 172 pages. So you get a good amount of comic, and that was intentional. We wanted to tell a little bit of back, a little bit of front. We wanted to give folks a complete story arc since this is the first time they were going to be introduced to this universe. So, that was kind of the challenge, especially, without really having a history. I didn't want to drop people in the middle of the first two issues and just say, hey, hope you come back. So wanted to give folks, hey, here's a full story arc. Now your feet are firmly planted in the world of Black Tiger, and let's keep moving forward.
Nice. Doc Hogg says, I noticed. Thank you. I buy books like that too, lol. In the past 3 months, I backed 27 CG books. Nice.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, Eric, it's crazy because, I enjoy going on shows, but I enjoy watching shows. And bro, I'm buying. It's crazy. Like I feel like I'm buying a book like every night. You know what I mean? And then some shows, I'm like an addict. I'm like, it's like crack. Like some shows, like they'll have a whole bunch of books on, like whether it's like an open mic or you get on with some other folks, and I'm just, oh man, I have to have that. Oh God, that looks so good. And then the next one, oh, that looks so good. And then my wife's looking at me up the corner of my eye. She's just like, you are just like a child. You cannot control yourself. I'm like, you're right. I can't. It's pathetic. This is like my crack. Comic books. I've got to have them. And these indie books, I'm telling you, they're so good and they're getting better and better. And you just see people pouring their heart into the books. And that's what I'm enjoying about it. And I feel like, just like most folks, I mean, what drew me to comics originally were the Big Twos books, and I loved them back in the day. Then I kind of became disgruntled. And my wife was just like, look, you keep complaining, but you keep buying their books. That's stupidity.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're right. So I buy all indies now, and I'm happy. I get to check stories out that are innovative and new, or people just pouring their hearts into stories. So I'm loving the community, man. It's awesome.
Oh hell yeah. That's what I love about ComicsGate. I was like on a comic book free hiatus for what was it? 89, nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
And I got out of collecting comics actively when comics started transitioning from costing 25 cents a flop, 75 cents a floppy, to like $1.25, $1.50, it seemed like an immediate jump. And then they started getting more political and more serious in tone.
Yeah.
And tried to incorporate real life. And I always viewed comics as being escapism and drifting further and further away from it. And it wasn't until I discovered ComicsGate in like late 2019 that, that passion reignited. And, I've been on a roller coaster ever since, really digging this movement.
No, and it's changed. I mean, it's absolutely changed the world of comics. In so many different ways. Distribution, when I first got into comics, so I first got into the comics as a writer in the 90s, and I worked for a company called Motown Animation, and they were being published by Image. And when Motown got into the comic book realm, it was because they're on the tail end of what was going on with Image and books that were selling 1 million units because they had 8 different foil covers and all this kind of stuff. So Motown had it in their mind, we're going to sell 1 million units of each book. So you get into 95, 96, by the time the books actually started getting published, man, they were selling 15 to 20,000 units. And they were like, wait. We got in this to sell 1 million units a book, and we're selling 15,000 to 20,000 units a book. This is a wrap. We're not doing this nonsense anymore. This is not what we got into this for. But it was fun because it introduced me to the world. It got me published for the first time, and I got to meet some really neat folks. And I already had the bug because I love comics already. But it was just a real tough time because instead of there being an indie explosion, the prices got jacked up, and basically, all retailers, I don't blame retailers. It's like if your books are $2 or $3 a pop, you only have a certain amount of shelf space, and there's 90 DC books and 60 Marvel books, that's going to be pretty much your shelf. That's pretty much what you got. And you're not just taking a lot of flyers on indie books. Because I remember in the 80s in particular, which was a complete renaissance in comics. Even with everything going on with like the Dark Knight Returns and with the Crisis on Infinite Earths and all those things going on, there were still a lot of indie books out. And I still picked up a number of cool little indie books. And I feel like what's happening now is a renaissance. And now people are going back to indie books. But, I don't, honestly, I love shops. I don't know where shops are going to play in all this, honestly. But I love comic book shops. I love the culture. Yeah. I love the atmosphere, but indie creators being able to reach out to their fans, because us indie creators, we're creators, but we're fans, so it's like, we're kind of like, we get high on our own supply. We make it, but then we, we consume it. Yeah. Also, so it's a very cool, community to be a part of. And I'm really enjoying it.
For sure. Yeah. Eric McIntyre says, I need that hardcover.
Yes, sir. The hardcover is waiting for you. And then we have the hardcover, and we also have we're going to have the hardcover with a slipcase as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those are the last items.
Nice. Eric says, the book starts off swinging. I love the action sequences in it the most. When the Black Tiger gift gets passed down to his son and he just starts whooping ass, reminds me of that scene in Surf Ninjas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Ernie Reyes Jr. starts whooping full cut.
Exactly. That's what I wanted. I just wanted, I'm like, especially given, as you've been reading, given the tenor and tone of the person that Eric is, that's what he's all about. He got the power and he went right to work.
Right. Hey, is it safe to play some of the intro to this short movie you guys made?
Well, why don't we do this? Let's do that. Let's play the intro to the short movie so you can see a little Robin Shue in work. And if anybody wants to watch the full thing, Just go to Beyond Time Inc. and watch it. But just like this, Eric, I go start with some action. So let's see a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a fight we have to finish once and for all.
My father was the Black Tiger. To the people of Los Santos, he was their defender of justice. This night of the Bartiromo massacre was his final stand.
The video isn't showing. Folks are saying they can't see it. They can only see us watching it.
Holy cow. Oh, sorry. Whoop.
Yeah.
That sucks. That would help. Sorry about that, everyone.
Uno más tiempo.
This is a fight we have to finish once and for all.
Kid's voice. This is a fight we have to finish once and for all. When it says a PG, can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
My
All right,
father
thanks.
was the Black Tiger. To the people of Los Santos, he was their defender of justice.
I like her voice. When it says a PG film, is that like PG rating? Or
No, his name is Patricio Janelsa.
Oh, all right.
He's the director,
This night
and his company is Kid Hero Productions.
was his final stand.
I don't know whether to pause this every 30 seconds or what.
The police are still piecing together what happened and who was responsible for my father's death.
Ooh.
Now I'm the Black Tiger. Not quite what I had in mind for family legacy. But crime never sleeps, and the city of Los Santos needs me to follow in the footsteps of my father and brother. Time to answer the call.
Yo, man, you got any change? Oh! You know what? Why don't you just give us your wallet and your little phone? How about this instead?
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's enough to whet your appetite. You guys.
Yeah, Eric, that is Liu Kang. That is Robin Shu.
My gosh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you guys gave it a go. Didn't quite reach the flexible goal, but it was enough to make that 20-minute movie. Are you guys going to
What we actually did was we ran a subsequent Kickstarter campaign and we raised another $16,000.
Wow.
And then we were able to make it.
All right.
Yeah.
And that 22-minute movie is the result?
That's the product.
Now, is that going to, are you guys looking to, after the success of this campaign, are you guys going to go back to making another episode?
It's making the episodes is really challenging, and it's very kind of capital intensive. We pulled every stop, it's like, we got locations from people that we knew on the free. We did some guerrilla filming, and Robin was really gracious about that. I mean, he's a real actor. He doesn't have to do guerrilla filming.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was I think something that if we were to be able to get like a fan base and a following behind it, and we could fund it a little bit better, we would love to keep going. I think for now, the comics, that's kind of, something that's within our domain of control. We can control the quality of the product, and don't have to worry so much, because the budget is more constrained.
Oh yeah. Eric says, lol, getting high on your own supply. That is what the comic book industry needs.
Yes, sir.
Doc Hogg will have to check out Surf Ninjas. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I've seen it either. Yeah, that's when you guys told me. I was Ethan moment. Yep. Yeah, and that is Liu Kang, the actor. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, welcome, Frago. Good to have you.
Hey, Frago.
That is awesome. Yeah, that looks.
Appreciate that, Eric.
I mean, that's looking at least at the very least close to CW level. So that's pretty cool.
No, I appreciate that. That was it was good to, it was fun. It was a fun project to put together, but definitely want to kind of focus, the energies right now in the comics, just because from a production standpoint, we can just do a much better job of kind of keeping the production running and putting books out on a periodic basis. Like Eric was asking before, it's like, is this the next one? I'm like, no, we're kind of wrapping up this campaign. I think we have maybe a dozen of the paperbacks left, and maybe a little bit more than that of the hardcovers. And then this campaign will be shut down. A little bit later, we'll talk about the next campaign that's coming up, but I want people to still have the opportunity to get a hold of the book if they're interested.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You get back to this. Everybody definitely be sure and back this book. Black Tiger, Legacy of Fury.
Yes, sir. If you want, you can, there's a video for that that we can show. And I think people will enjoy watching that as well.
Yeah, we will get to that in just a second here. Let me see. That's awesome. You guys haven't seen Surf Ninjas? No, I have not, okay? You never seen Surf Ninjas, but it's the ultimate 90s movie. I was a huge fan of 80s movies. So maybe that's part of it. You need to have a Cecil or Shane moment. Oh, are you talking, Doc, about me maybe having a drunken stream or something?
Oh, boy.
Falling out of my chair. It has a young Rob Schneider in it, too. Is that right? Oh. Do you have a mailing list active for the second book?
Yes, we do. So it's Magna, the Last Pantheon, is the second book that we're producing. We don't have a mailing list for the second Black Tiger book yet, but we will in the coming months, because we're going to launch another book, Magna, the Last Pantheon, which is a part of this world. We're going to launch that in November, and then in probably February we'll launch the second of the Black Tiger books.
Holy cow! Oh my gosh! Exactly. Let's rewind the hands of time momentarily.
Yes, sir.
Go back even further before you even launched the first project with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about your early years, how you even got interested in comics. Whether you had a career in comics prior to launching this book and so on. Basically, your origin story. If you
My origin story, yes. So I mean, for me, when I was a kid, books weren't in the direct market. You could pick books up by going to the drugstore, and they'd have, like, the drugstore close to us had one spinner rack, and then it grew to 2 spinner racks. So I'd go with my mom, and my mom would get me a comic. And at the time, the Super Friends were big. So, you kind of had, you had top of mind, you had Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and they would show a lot of the old 60s Spider-Man comics or cartoon. So I would pick up Spider-Man comics. And one day, and my buddy was picking up Daredevil, and I'm like, that just seems so obscure. What is that? I'm like, who is this guy? And then one day, after they'd expanded to 2 spinner racks, I saw this one book, and it had what ended up being a giant Crusher Creel. He was like on one of those like large kind of like tankers, and he was giant sized like King Kong. And he was holding Miss Marvel up in his hand, and Vision was attacking him, and Iron Man was attacking him, and I was just like, this looks cool. So I had my mom buy me that book, and I read that book over and over again. It was actually a book drawn by John Byrne. It was Avengers. And I don't, you think by now I know which number it was. It was around 181. But at that point, I professed to my mom, I was like, I am now a comic book collector. I'm telling her this as a kid. This is like the first real profession of anything in my life. And you got to realize, I read comics. My mom would buy me comics because my friends, parents would be like, why do you buy that boy's comic books? And, my mom was like, he's actually reading something. It's like, probably if it weren't for comics, I wouldn't have been reading. And then, I picked up this Avenger book, and man, that was it. It was over. I knew I was a comic book collector. My mom's like, that's great, baby. Go eat your vegetables.
No, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. I was telling her I am a comic book collector, but she was like, okay, that's great, baby. Go eat your vegetables. But, from that grew a humongous love for storytelling. And I really feel like, I got to read comics in like a different kind of a golden age, because, reading those comics and the stories, leading up into the mid 80s, getting to read those, and those were fun stories. And then all of a sudden the world gets turned upside down in the mid 80s. You have Batman, Death in the Family, you have Dark Knight Returns, and then, and I was reading a lot of Marvel at that time, so then DC does this, and then they do the Crisis, which, I have that original series of Crisis with, Wolfman and Perez, and man, and from there they rolled into a reconstruction. To me, like, the one good time a universe was reconstructed. They reconstructed Man of Steel, Superman, and it was awesome. Byrne worked on that book. They reconstructed Wonder Woman, and that was awesome. And I was just like, man, this is so cool. And there were cool things happening in Marvel at the same, around this time, because like the New Mutants came out. So a buddy of mine, we picked up the New Mutants. We were just like, oh man, we just picked up the next X-Men. Because, we were picking up X-Men at that time, but the X-Men had been around since the 60s. So we didn't have the original issues. We're like, we've got our X-Men. So we're like, by the time we're older, kids are going to be picking up whatever's next. And this is going to be like, so we kind of thought like things are just going to continue to progress. And I think maybe they wanted to do that, but unfortunately it's just like reboot after reboot after reboot after reboot. And then, you realize that like, okay, that the New Mutants are always going to be kids, and they're going to have, and the X-Men, they're just going to keep rebooting those guys, and nobody's going to stay dead. And it just kind of, it deflates you. I remember reading some books, and even like The Killing Joke, you read these books and you're just like, oh my goodness. And then they blow up the universe, and it's like, oh, that may fit into the universe or that may not. I was like, okay, that's not acceptable. That wasn't, at that point I was personally offended. I was like, look.
They blow up the universe.
I was like, you can't blow up the universe. You can't take these things that are canon and then just say, maybe not, because then I realized, okay, now I care more about your stuff than you care about your stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I love what's going on with this independent renaissance today. Is when I read stuff, I can tell people love their books. You know, if I'm reading a book and I know that I love the characters more than the publisher of the book, you know, then I'm investing too much. If you don't love your book, why should I be loving your book if you don't love your book?
Yeah.
You know, and that's really where it was. It was just like, you know, you felt like you're just in bad relationships reading these books. You're like, you can't do this to Peter Parker. You can't do this to so and so. You can't do, you know. And after a while, you're just like, I can't take it. You know. You don't love these characters like I love them. But you know what? The great thing is now people are like, you know what? Now everyone's making characters that they do love and characters that they, you know, that they're doing a great job with. And that's why I'm really just enjoying all these different books that are coming out. That's why I'm buying way too many, man. I have, oh man, I have so many good books coming to me. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Same here. I just did a P.O. box opening and got all kinds of bunch more books to read, so it's pretty exciting, and it's like Christmas every month.
Yeah, seriously, it really is. And I know you asked me about just kind of, you know, it had always been my desire to write, and then a buddy of mine was working at Motown. Motown set up an office in the Mid-Wilshire area in LA, and they were going to start an animation division. So a buddy of mine, I mean, he was like legit. He's like a, you know, editor, and he's a you know, a game editor now, an executive producer for video games now. But he was an editor over there, and he was like, hey man, I know how much you love comics. He said, I think I can get you on board. So basically, I was a gopher. He brought me on, and I was a gopher for the CEO, who was Michael Davis. And Michael Davis was one of the Milestone guys, one of the founders of Milestone. So. You know, so Michael had set up this company with Motown, and you know, we're in the mid '90s now, so kind of the comic book boom is on the decline, and Motown is in there. They've seen some of the numbers. Hey, you can sell 1 million units a book. You know, we're going to get into comics. You know, so by the time the books that we published, and I was fortunate. At first, my boss said, you know, you're never going to have a chance to write. You know, you're just going to be my gopher. But I was always pitching him stuff. Always. He's just like, will you go do your job? You know, I was like, I will, but I have an idea that I want to throw towards you. And another one of the artists, he had this great book idea called Trouble Man, and it was going to get published. It was the 4th book that they called the comic book division, but Motown Machine Works. So the 4th book they published was called Trouble Man. And the artist Chuck Drost, who I love, he had like just Mobius influences and just like a real cool vibe and flavor, just an excellent artist. He had this great, it's almost kind of a Men in Blackish type of world going on with more of a Mobius flair. And I was always riffing with him on ideas, and I would write scripts. I'm a nerd, man. I always wrote. I would write scripts. I mean, back in the day, I was writing Space Ghost scripts. I mean, if there's anything I thought that was cool, I want to write a script for it. You know, I'm gonna write stories. So I was writing stories for his comic, and then my boss came to me and he said, "Listen, I've already put solicitations in Diamond Preview. Basically, the writer has ghosted. You know, this is like on a Thursdays, and I need you to come back on Tuesday, and I need a script for the 1st issue.
Oh my gosh.
That we can get lettering." He's like, no pressure, but if you screw this up, I'm firing your ass. Oh. No pressure.
Okay.
You know, and the thing that I told him years later, because he didn't know years later, but I had already written scripts for this story. I already had just grand ideas, and I already saw the art, and I already saw, like, I had a lot of this already together. Then I kind of circled up with the artist, so I wanted to make sure I was staying true to his vision, because this was his baby. You know, and it kind of worked out well for him because, you know, kind of the writer they brought on had gone on in a little bit of a different direction anyway. So I was able to really rein it in, make it true to his vision, really have some fun. And that was the first time I got published, and they published the book through Image, and the book was called Trouble Man. So that was fun, and got to meet a number of the Image kids at the time, of which I was, you know, so I would hang out with Marat Michaels a lot because they were down in Orange County over at Extreme, and I'd hop over to the West Side, and like, you know, J.D. Smith was over there, and he was over there with, like, you know, the Aspen crew and with the Top Cow crew. So, you know, it was just a lot of fun. It was, I mean, it was such a fun time. And then Motown realized they weren't going to move 1 million units a book. They were going to move 15,000 to 20,000 units a book. And they said, yeah, this isn't what we're in it for. So that whole thing kind of took a dump. You know, I got a few freelance gigs here and there, but I was really never able to gain traction again. You know, there's so many people trying to do, you know, just do what we were doing. So Black Tiger was an idea that I came up with. And the first time I published it was through Diamond back in 05, 06. I published the first 4 issues through Diamond.
Wow.
You know, Diamond, being an indie, it's very man, it's just they make it very difficult to do business with them. And the way the pricing works, kind of what you're paying out of pocket, they make it, you know, they just make it impossible almost for you to be able to make money.
Oh.
And on top of that, they keep you in the dark about who's buying the book or even where the book is being bought. I'm like, okay, fine, you're not going to tell me. I understand that, but can I even know, you know, where it's being picked up? So I have an idea of where my fan base is. None. You got no data, man.
Wow.
So you don't know where your people are.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's I mean, they really kind of operated that like a monopoly, you know, and that's, I think, and honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why there's so much lash against kind of communities like what we're doing. Is it's kind of a power play. You know, creators have taken power back into their own hands. I mean, it's like, you know, Doc is selling a lot of books and we reach out to him and he reaches out to us. I mean, you know, at some point he's going to get to a place he's not going to be able to know everybody, but hey, he knows, hey, I bought your book. I'm buying your second one. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, Eric hopped on there. I'm like, oh, I know Eric, he bought a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just a different level of community. And I'm sure for all of us, it'll grow to a point where, you know, yeah, you can't pinpoint everybody, but you still have, you know, who your audience is, and you can reach and touch your own audience. And that way you can also hear from your audience and get feedback from your audience. Because I couldn't even get that, you know, the way that was set up. And you're like, okay, why are my numbers going down? And I couldn't understand. It's like, I don't know who's picking up the book, who's not. I found out later that people tried to reorder and Diamond said no. And you find out all these crazy things. And, you know, Diamond's just like, yeah, I'm not going to reorder. You know, they're not going to reorder for, you know, 1,000 or a few hundred. They're just like, no. So I didn't even know that people did want the book and did want to have it reordered. So it was a hot mess.
Wow.
But you kind of fast forward to now and kind of people being able to market their books and get them out there. It just changes everything. It changes the whole world.
Yeah, for sure. Matanui, welcome. How's it going? Hello. Matanui says, whenever someone says that, expect pressure. Yep.
Yeah, my boss is like, no pressure. It's like, here we come. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So you go and make this, launch this movie on Indiegogo. You get some funding, but not quite enough. So you go launch the movie on Kickstarter. You get the rest of the money needed to produce a 22-minute movie, which we saw a glimpse of. For anyone who wants to check it out, you definitely should, because it's looking pretty darn awesome. You can find it at this link.
Yeah, if you go to Beyond Time Inc. on YouTube, you have to, it's all one word, because if you space it out, it takes you to other places in the universe.
And while yeah, absolutely. What as demonstrated.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, be sure and while you're there checking out that cool movie, take a moment to subscribe to that channel and mark the bell for notifications so you don't miss any updates.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that. And the intent, you'll also find like a 10-minute animatic that we put together for another property. My intent is to be able to start putting more content up there. whether it's other animatics and things of that nature. So just slowly trying to build and provide content for folks.
Awesome. All right. So I dropped in the chat the link to that video.
Oh, appreciate that.
All right. Back to this, and then boom. All right.
Yes, sir.
So let's see here. We've got Black Tiger, Legacy of Fury graphic novel. Brother battles sister with fate of their city and family legacy at stake. 172 pages. That's freaking long. So how many issues is that equivalent to?
So that is the six. It's a 6-issue equivalency, but they ended up being 6 issues that were 25 plus pages each. The issues initially started off as 22 pages each, but what the campaign allowed us to do was there were some other parts of the story that I wanted to put in that I hadn't been able to. So the campaign enabled me to add another 20 plus pages to the book, to fully flush out the story, to be able to, basically tell the full story arc the way that I wanted to. So the campaign, I'm so grateful for everybody that backed it. The campaign enabled us to do that. And then, basically I feel really good about just, hey, without any, reservation, check this out, give this a read. It takes you right into the world, right into the Black Tiger world.
Nice. So when you were doing it on your own before you released this graphic novel, you actually produced 6 issues?
I actually produced 4 and did not produce the 5th and 6th through Diamond, just because it was, the economics were so backwards, and in terms of units, I knew I was moving units because I was paying for printing, but I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
So I was just like, this isn't whatever they're doing that I have no visibility to. This isn't working.
Do issues 5 and 6 physically exist out there in the wild?
They do not. Issues 5 and 6 do not physically exist. So the only places you can read them are in the graphic novel. If you go to the website beyondtimecomics.com, there's a digital reader on the website. So for those that either bought the book, I gave for those that wanted it, I gave access to the reader. A lot of people just wanted the physical copy; they didn't want. And then there's some folks that actually just backed and just got the digital piece. Yeah. No. So if you click where it says "Read Now," right there for Black Tiger: Legacy of Fury. Sorry, it's scrolling. Yeah, there you go. So that's Black Tiger. Yep, click there. Black Tiger: Legacy of Fury, and read now. You'll see the 6 issues with the 6-issue covers, and I was really fortunate. Greg Horn is the one that did the covers for the 6 issues. Great dude. It's really fun. The industry is a fun place, when you get to work with the right people. Right. And he got a hold of the vision for the story, and he made, covers that aligned with. Sorry, I just muted myself. Covers that were aligned with what was going on in the story. So each of these covers, some of them happen kind of just as you see it, and other ones are kind of riffs on things that are happening. Like the second cover is Discovery. The discovery of her discovering who the Black Tiger is doesn't happen like that, but it was like he wanted to do like kind of like a revelation, a discovery. So I let him go with it, and he made just some awesome covers.
Yeah, this is so cool, man. I'm not sure, but I think this is what people describe as hyperrealism, where it looks really realistic.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's probably a good way to describe it. I mean,
Man,
his digital coloring is just immaculate.
such nice artwork. This is all digital, huh?
Yeah, so for him, so like he'll like his like he had the thumbnails that were, so he would start off with pencils, and then from there he would go directly just digital.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah. So it's, we've been really fortunate with the book. Rod Looper, he of the pages he drew all but like 19 or no, all but maybe, I don't know, 12 of the pages, and then the other person that drew those other 12 pages was Diego Bernard, who does a lot of work for on the Lady Death book. If you'll see a lot of his work on those campaigns.
Is that right? Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
Yeah. So it's been it's fun, and just I just really appreciate people just kind of getting excited, because I'm always super excited about the story and just kind of where we're going to be able to go with it in the future.
This is such great looking work. Wow. All right, so that's the website, and that has all your other IPs as well.
That's right.
So you've got you hired an artist, and so you're basically the creator and storyteller.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
All right. And does your artist handle everything from the digital artwork to the colors to the lettering?
So we have, I mean, it's like working with specialists. I mean, so, one primary penciler, in Rod Looper, along with Diego Bernard on some other pages that were picked up, a couple of inkers, but they're all amazing. Arnie Starr, Robert Hawkins, and then colorists. We have had there's probably like 4 colorists. So the big part of it was just retaining consistency and just working with really top-notch people. That was a big part of my job, especially like you get some of these amazing pencils from like Rod, and then it's like I have to make sure that whoever's touching these are doing them justice. So every level was kind of taking it. Every level was kind of is upping the ante. One of the mistakes that I made back when I published Black Tiger initially through Diamond were the pencils and the inks were phenomenal, but the colors were lackluster and the lettering wasn't good, and that'll kill a book. So I mean, those pages I had to have recolored and relettered, and then these pages, we went about it the right way. So I definitely learned that about the production cycle. I mean, there is no just anything in comics. Everything is important. Your pencils are ultra important. Your inks are ultra important. Your colors and your letters. I mean, you need a letterist that understands spacing and understands tempo and understands how to. And the thing is, when you do that, the writing was literally always being edited. It wasn't until the letterer actually had the letters on the page and I did my final edits, seeing how it looked. So I mean, it's like you're in a continual process of writing and rewriting. Throughout, and I loved it. I enjoyed it.
When you had to redo colors and letters on the first book, was it? Did you have the original, drawings, the original sketch work, still intact before colors were done on it?
So the fortunate thing is, all of the colors were applied digitally. So pages got inked, but that was it. And fortunately, the inkers were awesome. So the inkers did a lot of justice to the pages.
Good.
Fortunately, we didn't destroy anything.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been one pain in the rear. You would have had to do it from scratch.
A lot of crying.
Literally.
Yeah.
If it were applied directly to the skin.
Oh, I would have cried like a baby.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So you are cranking it out. You're at 51.52 USD, 108 backers. So you're in demand now.
Yes.
Did you do one of those? Did you like when you first launched? Did you, a full 60 days of funding, or did you break it up into 230 days?
So, like I said, once again, I did everything wrong. So I started off with 30 days, okay? And then I realized that I needed more time, but for some reason my reading abilities weren't up to par. So when I went to extend the campaign, and I can't remember how it was written. I thought I was getting an extra, it may have been an extra 30 days, but it was actually, instead of like, it was something silly, like instead of 30 days from where we were, at that point in the campaign, it was like how many days from the beginning of the campaign. So I ended up only adding like 5 days or something.
Ooh.
And once you do it, you can't do it again.
Ouch.
So I just just if you want, I should write a book on how not to do these things, because everything that a human being, every bit of human error that can be brought to the table, I mastered it. I nailed it.
Yeah, there are a few people, starting to compose.
There's my man Hex Allen. He worked at Motown Animation as well. What's up, brother?
Is that right?
That's right.
Yes. Welcome to Hex Allen Comics.
He's got a project that he's got promoting right now too. Everybody needs to check it out.
For sure. Yeah, dang.
Yeah, so literally, it's like, if this project can still have some level of redemption and still have backers, then anybody's project can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done this all the way backwards. You notice, like, when the campaign closed, we were at 1,700, and we've been able to get over 5,000 as people have started to get, get more of a feel and a flavor for the campaign. And I really appreciate everyone that has done that. So a big part of what I want to be able to do, of course, is finish this campaign up, because I had to print the books. So we don't have a whole bunch left, probably around a dozen of the soft cover, maybe a little bit more than that of the hardcover. And then with the next campaigns, I really want to make sure that we get off to a much better, faster, smarter start, so that people are already aware of it, get on people's calendars like yourself for shows. So I'm not just kind of like backfilling, but I can, at the earlier parts of the campaigns, people can get hip to the campaign, and if they like what they see, check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Hex Allen Comics says, yeah, we work with the great Dennis Cowan back at Motown. Name drop.
Yeah, man. Dennis Cowan. That dude, everybody knows he's great, but that dude is still underrated. He did some, Chuck Dross was the artist on Trouble Man. He did most of the work, and then Dennis Cowan had to fill in on the third issue. And you see his work, and you're just like, oh my goodness. Because Chuck Dross was a master already. But then, you look at Dennis's work, and you're just like, okay, this dude is like, Sifu Grandmaster, the dude with the thick white eyebrows and the white beard and goatee,
Nice.
Yeah. Amazing.
Really cool. Let's play this trailer here.
All right.
Tiger. Tiger.
Tiger, tiger, tiger.
Tiger. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger.
That's so
Yes, sir.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
I love that part, and I hadn't seen it done on trailers before, where you give the credits for the pencils, and then you do the inks on the same image, and then the inks are laid down. Then you give the credits for the colors, and then the colors are laid down, and then the same for the letters, and the letters are laid down. That's a great way to do it. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was just kind of nice. It was like I was looking at just kind of the images, and I said, I've got them all lined up, so I can kind of just almost like layer them, and it worked out. It worked out well.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn. Eric says the action in this book is so fun to look at.
Thanks, Eric. I mean, being a big time, I love Hong Kong action movies. I love, a buddy of mine got me into Daredevil back in the day, and I used to love how they would orchestrate kind of the fighting. So there's a lot of, where there are fight scenes, I'm very meticulous, and the artist was meticulous about the choreography. And I got to say it right now, Eric, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, because, man, this next book, oh, man, we are taking off, brother. We are taking off. If you're enjoying the action in this book, woo, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sounds like a bright future indeed. Let's see here. So you're in demand. Do you have a rough idea as to how long you plan to be in demand?
Well, like I was saying, that our supply is relatively short. I mean, because when I had to, start printing the books, I wanted to project out, some overflow, but I also didn't want to end up having to use books as furniture in the house, because they're all over the place, and
you didn't want too much overstock.
Exactly. So, it ends up right now we're at a place where I think we have about a dozen of soft cover left, and maybe a little bit more or less of that of the hardcover. So, I'm going to leave it open, and I believe we'll whittle through the remainder of our inventory, and then at that point I'll close it up.
Gotcha.
And then just continuing to try and learn the best ways to have the proper amounts of inventory so people can get what they want, but not end up having enough, not end up having to give a whole bunch away to the military or something like that, because I way over. Not that I shouldn't. I mean, it's like, I want the military to have some books, but I don't want them to go because I couldn't sell a whole bunch of books.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think a lot of creators are using as a general rule, overprint 10% of your original expected your original expected run, and that way you have extras to cover damages, replacements. And if you plan on, or if you have any interest in like sending promotional copies to specific individuals.
That's true.
And some creators also like to retain a certain amount for like their own personal collection, for their legacy, for their children, to keep in the family.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility if you encounter another spike of traffic and interest that since you don't have a whole lot of copies left, you could potentially be out by the end of the week and be closing the campaign that early, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm keeping my eyes on it. And it's one of those things where it really does ebb and flow, because like we'll get hits and then all of a sudden, 7 or 8 books have sold. And you're just like, okay, that's great. Especially considering we have 12 left, then you're like, okay, so no. But what you're saying, I mean, these are all things that I'm taking in. I appreciate just everyone's willingness to share in the community, just about what they're seeing, how they're going about it, because, at the end of the day, I still feel like people have been gracious and I've been kind of, feeling my way through the dark a little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm not a book creator at this, yet. But, I created this whole channel because of the passion I developed for ComicsGate. And I saw these up and coming creators coming out like crazy. And I wasn't seeing, I was getting kind of dismayed that a lot of the projects that were looking really cool weren't getting the funding or the visibility they wanted,
right,
or that they deserved. So I kind of took it upon myself to like join a number of other channels and try and do a whole extra promotion to try and help get worthy books funded.
What you guys do is so big. I mean, it makes such an enormous difference. It's amazing to me. I mean, it's like you see the direct correlation to somebody that's making books and you're just like, wow. And then like the ripple effects, so it's like, okay, this must be the original viewers. And you see that there's a section of folks that watch the video later. And, you can almost see the effects of how people are, checking out your show. And it's just like, it's really cool. And I'm just like, I really appreciate it, man, because, without the things that you're doing, I mean, I wouldn't have even hit my goal on my book, let alone, be where we're at.
I mean, yours is a really good looking book, and it hits all the genres I'm into. I'm into martial arts movies. I love suspense and action. I love fight scenes. Eric says, I think I read this. The action in this book is so fun to look at. X Allen says, yes, the Super Rod Looper.
Yeah, he wasn't able to join us, but Rod's artwork is amazing. And the fact that he puts up with me, that's amazing too. Because I'm a nut when it comes to trying to choreograph stuff. He's like, dude, you're always like trying to choreograph a movie in these books. I'm like, it. I'll be watching like Ip-Man and I'll be like, hey, this is what we're going to do in the book.
Oh my gosh, Ip-Man is so cool. I love it.
I just rewatched all 4 of them again.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was just like, oh man, I love that.
That was a trip that, what was it? The third one, I think, had Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
That was quite a trip, but it worked. And
it totally worked. And the funny thing is, like, it was funny because it wasn't like there was this like super sense of, okay, well, that was resolved. He just kind of like, well, you know what? Now you're not going to mess with me. So it was just kind of like, he's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have someone bullying you, or you just get into a fight with someone who, has something against you. And then by the time you guys are done fighting, then, there's that chance you become buddies.
Yeah. That's the superhero way, right?
Yeah.
Whenever heroes meet, they gotta fight first, You know, it's almost just like a, you know, kind of sizing each other up. You know, you can't team up until you fight first.
Yeah. There you go. Eric's looking forward to it. A lot of hellos. Eric says, it's channels like WyzGyz, Red Valkyrie, Skits Comics, and others that introduced me to a lot of good books.
Yeah.
I think I found out about Black Tiger on Red Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's right. Shay was just like, you guys are so generous. I mean, Shay's been just amazing, and she just had me on the show, and, you know, just like you're having me on the show now, and it just gives people an opportunity that wouldn't have seen the book otherwise, you know, to see it. And that is, you know, that's like, it's like this great equalizer that people like yourself that have, you know, shows with, you know, substantial followings is a great equalizer, you know, as opposed to, hey, you've made a book, now what? You know, it's like, okay, me and my mom, look at, you know, who's reading your book?
My book makes this awesome comic book. You got to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, mom's friends bought it. And they don't read comics.
Yeah.
And Eric's right. Yeah, Mandy's been very generous as well.
Oh man, those ladies are some of my favorites. They're truly out of this world. They're pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I love them to death. I only wish that I came across your campaign sooner so that I could have done more promotion. I think I didn't hear about yours until I saw you on Red Valkyrie with Shay.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm thankful to Shay for having her channel as well.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So I take it you knew from the get-go that you're going to be roughly 172 pages because you got the 4 original issues that were released in the wild, and then through Diamond, and then you had. Did you decide to make the 2 additional issues once you decided you were going to make a graphic novel for Indiegogo, or was it stuff that you just worked up behind the scenes in your spare time?
Yeah, we worked it up. So Rod and I worked it up kind of in our spare time. So we already had that produced, and then we you know, we published it on our digital reader on the website. But, you know, it's like comics, you know, at least our generation, man, we like to hold the books. Yeah. You know, we want to, you know, and a number of people that are awesome that followed it. I'm like, hey, you know, you get the digital. They're like, no, I'm gonna wait. You know, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to get the book in my hands. You know, so then we realized, yeah, we have to put this book literally into people's hands. Yeah. And we said, well, now that we have this opportunity, you know, there are some elements that I wanted to flesh out in the book. So we started off. We did a Kickstarter campaign that raised about $5,000, and that enabled us to flesh out the rest of the story. And then we did this campaign, and it's, you know, we've just, like I said, people have been exceptionally generous because this was very poorly executed on my part. But, you know, people like yourself and Shay and Mandy and John Malin, you know, just kind of stepped up. You know, like this kid just threw himself out there. So, you know, can you help this guy? You know, and people stepped up and picked up the book. So, you know.
Eric says the CG community is great. I'm so thankful that I came across it. Yeah.
You and me both, Eric. I mean, you and me both. This is like really just kind of a godsend, you know, just to be in a community of people that love comics, care about comics, promote comics. And, you know, it's symbiotic. It's, you know, kind of, it's like a symbiosis because we're making comics, we're supporting comics, we're kind of the fuel. We are the fuel for the machine, but we are the machine also. Yeah. You know, so it's like I love seeing other people's, you know, books, and it's so fun. I go on streams, and then in the audience, there's always at least a couple people whose books I've supported. You know, like Hex Allen's, I'm on his list. I've supported, you know, Doc's book. You know, I've supported, you know, and you just realize that, like, man, this is an awesome community. And then a lot more of these people that are watching the shows, they're going to be creating books in this next year. And I already know these people. I already know them through shows. I already know them because they've supported me.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, you and me thrice.
Yeah.
Man, some of these action poses, they're so trippy.
Man, I dig off of that big time. I mean, I dig off of the just the choreography of the books, because I dig off of martial arts movies. I love kung fu movies, and I love the dance aspect of the fight. So I always want to bring a fluidity, to the fight, and one of the things in comics that I learned, it's like, okay, well, yeah, of course you're going to read through the book, but before you read through the book, you should be able to go through the book and be able to have an idea of what's happening. If you can't go through something and not get just at least a flow, that means you don't have a flow in your artwork. Yeah. And the other things I wanted to do, that I wanted to make sure that I did, was have a flow in the fights, so that even if you're not reading anything, you can follow the flow of the fight, by just looking at the images. And then the words should just be like, peanut butter and jelly when you put it all together. Each one is great, but then together it makes something even better. You don't want to be missing either of those elements.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really loving the artwork and the colors. Everything pops off the page. Holy, yeah. I like the effect that's done when blood is represented in silhouette.
Yeah. And honestly, that's where the artists kind of bring their expertise to the table. I mean, when I'm writing these things, I always have an idea of what I want it to look like. But like that silhouette effect was Rod's doing. That wasn't what I had planned. This was what I wanted in the scene, but he was just like, man, if we did it in silhouette, I mean, it's still graphic, but it's, it just has so much more of an impact. And that black and red.
Yeah.
That was, the colorist was just like, man, we could just do this contrast. All there is black and red. It's just death.
Oh yeah.
On that panel, there's nothing else. There's the white from the blade, but it's just black and red. And you're just like, man, just when people have that kind of a mind and that kind of a level of detail, it makes it so much fun.
Indeed. That's really sweet. So it sounds like you're the type of writer who you do your job, you convey the message and what you're looking for, maybe in a brief blurb, a line or two description, and then you let the artist go to town on it and do their job, which is to translate your words into images.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to admit, I probably, even in the descriptions, I overwrite, but it's not meant to be this is canon. It's meant to be like, I think it's easier when you start from an idea. So I will lay things out pretty vividly what I'm thinking. And then either the artist can get on board with it and say like, that sounds good, or they can start picking it apart. I don't think that part works. No, you know what? Sometimes it's like, I'm just going to wash this thing and just do something different. Or, hey, there's certain elements, and the thing that I like about it, I mean, I guess first and foremost, one of the things I learned when I was working at Motown and I was writing is just, if you have a good editor, your work is going to get edited. But a good editor helps you in a constructive way to make something better. It's easy just to say that something sucks. That's not valuable. A lot of editors do that, and they're not helping. Anyone can say that. Anyone can be a critic.
Yeah.
But just my whole thing was opening up so that the artists can say like, you know what, not this, but that. So if they have a better idea, I was always game for a better idea. You can't just be this sucks. It's like, okay, not this, but that. And that's how I think we got to a place where we have some really dynamic scenes and really dynamic sequences. And some things that maybe I wrote out that were kind of mundane, the artist was like, man, we can spice this. We can really spice this up. We can do something kind of even cooler than what you got written out here. But it gives them a place to work from. It's like, okay, I know where you're trying to go, but I think we can get there in a better way, from an artistic standpoint. And that's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what is your style in terms of, or your process? So you write out a script. Do you actually have the entire book of the script for an entire issue, if you will, completed before you present it to the artist and say, go to town on it? Or do you like release one page at a time of script?
So kind of the way that I wrote this, because when I thought about this story and this story arc, I thought about it kind of like a movie. So I broke it out. I broke out what I wanted in terms of the 12 beats, and then I said, well, if I'm going to stay in this format, I can do, basically a couple of beats along with some subplots every issue. So I'm going to do 6 issues. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of where I started. And I did completely write an issue before I got the artist working on that issue, but I didn't have everything fully. So like when issue 1 was written and Rod started working on issue 1, issues, 4, 5, and 6 they were just skeleton. They weren't written, because like issue 1 I'd written and I'd edited, and my wife helps me with the editing as well. So that was pretty well combed over. So by the time I give it to him, he can start combing over it and doing his edits to it. But it's something that I worked over a lot, So by the time I give it to the artist, it's been worked over a good chunk. But I already knew where the story was going to go. So I didn't write the whole thing before starting to give him pages. I wrote the first issue and really re-edited it a few times, and then gave him the first issue. But it's interesting too, because even with this second Black Tiger book that we'll be releasing in Q1, I mean, it's stories start to take on lives of their own. So this world has taken on a life of its own, and then Rod has taken a lot more ownership of the world as well. So I mean, he has a very high level of input in that book. So a number of things was like, hey man, I'd like to see this, in this book. And I think that's why like Eric will really enjoy it, because it's very much a story driven book, but the action's on a whole another level, and the action in this book is, I think, magnificent, in Legacy of Fury. But in our next book, Hidden Dragon, I mean, Rod's whole point was, I'm going to take this to the next level. He's like, I'm doing stuff that, you know what I mean? And I was like, I love the fact that you're challenging yourself that way. How are we going to do that?
That sounds pretty exciting. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Edwin. Sign up for the Ace mailing list, Acevedo. Hail, peeps.
Yeah, I signed up for that.
Nice.
I told you, man, I'm all over the place, bro. I forgot what show I signed up on.
I think I'm on the sign up list, but I will have to double check just to be sure. Man, yeah. Talk about detail. Did it take you very long to decide who you wanted to partner with to do the artwork, the lettering, and colors and so on?
It did actually. I mean, finding Rod was amazing. I felt like I was finding kind of a diamond in the rough. And we've developed just a real genuine friendship, especially working on the project and both, loving it and wanting to make the very best project, staying motivated and fired up, because it's a lot of pages, and you don't want for an artist to grow weary or grow bored, drawing a book, which means that even within the context of the story, we still needed to add elements to keep it fresh for him. Mm-hmm. As an artist. So he doesn't want to be drawing the same thing over and over again or feel like he's just stuck with the same characters. You know, so from that perspective, he's been amazing, and you know, the relationship with him has grown, you know, tremendously. And then it has literally been just been so blessed with the people that we've got on the book. But it has not. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've been very meticulous in terms of, you know, who we're working with, kind of, you know. You look at their artistic style, and then you just kind of see how they are in terms of their personality and working. You know, I just want to have, you know, these are comics. You know, I want to have fun. You know, I want to work with people that are having fun and that are excellent at what they do, and that are willing to try stuff. You know, that are willing to, you know, to stretch themselves. One of the things I like on this panel that you have here, the woman that's the aggressor in the yellow shirt, you'll notice that it looks like her tattoo is faded in the beginning and it's coming in. It's actually kind of representative of her power. So she kind of invoked the power. Before she was getting beat up, and then she kind of invokes the power. And as she invokes the power, she starts to whoop up on the other girl. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's a good detail.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that initially. I was I was like sucked into the action sequence and the angles. Your
yes, sir. And I think that's. I mean, it's like I want people to have fun with the books. I want people to go back and investigate the pages, and you know, really just kind of dig in. I mean, you're going to read the story and hopefully go back and just really dig on the art and enjoy. And we really tried to do our best. So even the things like you said, like just angles and flow, and you know, I really dig all that stuff. You know, I mean, these pages, we really kind of poured over them. And you know, some of it is hyperbole. I mean, she breaks the hat stand on this chick's face. You know, I mean, you know, it's, you know, I always like that kind of hyperbole. I always kind of like that John Buscema. Like when someone gets hit, they don't just fall back. I mean, it's like they're, you know, totally flailed upside down.
yeah.
You know, it's like I like that hyperbole in the action. Hair
whipping around.
Yeah.
Coming out of the mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really love the flow and freedom, not to be restricted with borders and frames.
Yeah,
and
you notice he did some funny things, like the pages here. They almost act kind of like, if you've seen some of the old Will Eisner, like the Eisner books with Spirit, like the smoke, like the cigarette smoke will flow from like one. Yeah. He kind of did that with the pages. So just like all kinds of little neat things that were done that, like, once you take a step back and you just kind of enjoy the art, you're like, there's some really cool flow in this. You know, there's some really neat things that are being done. And, you know, just wanted to really, you know, for us, wanted it to be a great story, wanted it to be a great artistic experience for people that just like to enjoy and just delve. Because like sometimes, like, you know, I'll read a book and then sometimes I just want to enjoy the art. You know, like so I've read it and then I just want to kind of dig on the art and just kind of look at the page. I've already read the story. I just want to look at the art. I want to, oh, that's kind of cool, you know.
That's literally what I'm doing this very moment.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I was talking about like camera angles, and it kind of brought up a memory. You know, I used to watch MTV and VH1 all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was watching like the making of Michael Jackson's Remember the Time.
Oh, man.
And the directors were talking about how, you know, you watch music videos and it's usually like front, you know, straight on.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't really see anybody do camera shots from above. So there was a sequence in Remember the Time where he's dancing with all these, I guess, other female dancers, I think. And then they cut to a scene where you're looking straight down on them, so you see the tops of their heads as they dance. And it, you know, when you hear them say that and you see the video, and it's like, you know what? You're right. The music video directors typically don't, you know, do like shots from above.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a hell of a trip.
And that kind of artistic element. I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh, look how rich the colors are. Shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like all the artists brought it, man, and like the colorists just went, they went all out. And this is like this is a vision, but it has like, prophetic meaning, but she just hasn't figured out what it means yet. So just, there's a whole sequence with that, and just, just the care that goes into each page. And that's what I really appreciated. The artists, really sought to make each page a masterpiece. And that's what I mean, what else could I ask for? I look at this book and I get excited, and I just say, like, artists are never satisfied. So, Rod, he's like, man, he's like, if I were to draw that today versus, drawing that a little while ago, I'm like, his skills are always going to the next level. But I'm like, you know what? I appreciate it. I love it.
Oh yeah, I love it too. I mean, I've never been good at drawing animals, but this is nice. And who doesn't love a serpentine dragon?
Serious.
Wow. Shoot. Oh, damn. So cool. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting angle too. A shot from below.
Yeah.
But an angle too. So.
And I liked just the lighting of that picture.
Mm-hmm.
That particular frame, and kind of how the clouds are opening up. So it's kind of as she's waking out of that reverie. So it's pretty cool. She's still in a dream state, but she's kind of waking out of the reverie. So I really like kind of how that how the artist took that and was able to make something better than I could describe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're working with your artists, and you made a note about how you don't want the artist to get stuck in a rut where they no longer have that initial excitement of doing these characters. Have you learned over time tricks that help bring the excitement back if things start to get a little stale, or is it more a matter of just having open conversations with your artists and going, what kind of things would you like to see done? What kinds of sequence have you maybe been thinking about as you draw these characters?
Well, it's funny. One of the things working with Rod, I mean, he's an excellent artist, and I actually find it good. What's good is, and it takes longer to get your project done, but it's good him working on other projects, because he gets to do something totally different. So it's like, if he's knocking out a page or two for me this week and he's working on a different project, he gets to do something totally different, and that gives him, so when he gets back to the Black Tiger page, he's excited.
Yeah.
As opposed to, for the last 2 weeks, he's been drawing nothing but Black Tiger pages, which is awesome. But for him, that gets a little stale, so when he gets to do something else, then when he comes back, then he's like, hey man, I was working on something totally different, but I got these great ideas for this fight scene, then he can come back at it and he's like, or he'll be working on another page and he tells me, hey, next week I'm going to get on this page, but I'm already excited because I got some ideas how I can spice that up even more. So I feel like, we kind of, with the big two, they kind of moved into something where they started making artists exclusive and kind of locking artists down into projects, and that's kind of stifling. It's good for artists to be able to work on different projects. Granted, it kind of slows your production process down, but it helps them to stay fresh and it helps them to stay excited. So when they're working on your pages, he wasn't going like, oh my gosh, I have 172 pages of Black Tiger, because you're just like, oh gosh, just kill me now. He's worked on multiple projects concurrently with this over time. So when he was working on the pages, and the other good thing with him is Rod is always honest with me. There were times when we did just do long runs of Black Tiger pages, and he's like, bro, I'm burnt out on it. And I realized that, like, you know what? Even though I like the production speed, it's not healthy for him. And then we get to a place where he's not going to touch it for a couple of months because he's burnt out on it. So I'd rather spread it out, let him work on other projects, you know, and he gets his creative juices flowing. He gets to do something sci-fi over here. He gets to work on my project over there. And I think it's healthier that way.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. One of the cool things I think you did is that you got most of the book already done prior to launching your campaign. It said that you want at least 25% of your book done so you can show some of your work off.
Yeah.
And what the reader has to look forward to. And of course, the more you have done in advance prior to the launch of your campaign, the more opportunities you have and to, you know, promote your book and go on various YouTuber shows.
Right.
And there's some pressure taken off your back because, you know, you don't have your nose to the grindstone, having to push hard to crank out the product, crank out the finished product, because so much of it is already done. And you're more or less just fine-tuning it, making additions, maybe adding some new perks, you know.
Yeah.
Got a new product. So, yeah.
And you can give people the peace of mind knowing that you're going to get across the finish line. You know, especially with something like this, you know, if you say, I'm going to deliver a 172-page book to you and I'm going to start production after you fund me. Oh, no. No and no. And who are you again? John who? You're not running away with my money, guy. No way. You know, so one of the things we wanted to show is we can tell a story and we can deliver and that we believe in the product. So, you know, most of the book was already completed before we started. And I realized that's not a luxury for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't, I'm not saying that this is a law. I'm not making that canon. But I think for something this big, if you're gonna deliver a book this big, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna deliver a book this big again, at least not like we're gonna chop it up into smaller pieces because I want to make sure that we can deliver with some periodicity. You know, I don't want to have to go, you know, too long before the next Black Tiger book comes. Yeah. So we're already ready to do the next one because it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a little bit shorter. It's not gonna be 172 pages, but it's still gonna be a good story.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Story is key. Story is key. If you don't have a strong story, then, you know, you don't get a chance to fall in love with the characters and, you know, have some skin in the game. You don't have anyone to root for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of the fun of the world building and part of the fun of, you know, it takes you being deliberate. You know, one of the things that we all have kind of the benefit of is, you know, we've read comics, we've seen what we like, we've seen what we dislike, and we have the ability to kind of implement. I mean, one of my big things about the books that I'm publishing is just whatever we put into print is canon. You know, so I mean, if it happened, it happened. I'm not going to undo anything that happened, you know, and, you know, because what ends up happening is sometimes something happens to a particular character, people are like, oh, I really love that character. So then, you know, the knee-jerk reaction is, oh, well, I better bring that character back from the dead. You know, so it's like, you know, just keep the story progressing. Keep the story moving, you know. And, you know, I think people will appreciate it and will come along for the ride. And I think one of the challenges is, you know, as the story continues to progress and continues to move, characters mature. You know, it means that you're going to have changes that are happening throughout your story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is so good. Yeah.
And these are some of the Great Horn covers. So when you get, you know, I wanted to make sure with this book that you got everything. So, you know, you'll get all of those covers. I'm kind of going from the back. So all the covers are in here. All six of the Greg Horn covers are in here. See if I can turn the page. All six of the covers are in there. You've got, all the story. I'll give you the flip book version.
Wow.
It's all in there. And just wanted to deliver a product where people can really get on board and just enjoy. And we do have, so this is a proof of the hardback book. There's just a couple of things that the printer needs to change, and then we'll have that book ready to ship for folks, hopefully, within the next week or two. And for the softcover books, we're shipping those. So as people order those now, we're putting those in the mail and getting them out to people.
Can you remind everyone how many softcover and hardcover books you have?
Around a dozen of each. So, we like we were talking about earlier, at the time, I needed to, have a solid number of books that we were going to print. And I did print some overage, but I didn't want to end up, having a whole stock of books here that I couldn't move. And, it's one of those things, it's a learning process. I'm starting to understand more even how just the community works. I'm thinking maybe nowadays overage isn't as bad as maybe it used to be. Because back in the day, if you had an overage of books, you had nothing to do with them. You just give them away to the military or sort of write them off, something like that.
Right.
But with people's abilities to continue to run campaigns, you could probably remarket the books and stuff like that. So, I'm always listening to shows and kind of hearing people's perspectives on, runs. And I know, like you were saying, like that 10% overage, that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to be stuck with too much.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, if you go the EVS route, then you take whatever you have extra and sell it on like an eBay store at a slight markup so that you don't anger the people who backed you on the campaign early.
Right. Exactly.
And if you do, what is it called? Flying Fortress. This isn't applicable to your situation, but it's Flying Fortress, they reopened the campaign and did what they call Flying Fortress Battle Damaged. So they took any of the imperfect copies of the book and made them available for sale. So if you're interested in getting an imperfect copy, then that was your chance, and it was like a second chance campaign. And I think they did something similar for Samurais and Dinosaurs, where there was a second chance campaign to sell additional copies for those who missed it previously.
Oh, okay.
So I actually had to take advantage of a couple of those campaigns, like the Flying Fortress Battle Damaged, and I'm so thankful it was available because, I missed out when I didn't have the chance earlier. I think it was lack of funds, but I was more interested in reading it than necessarily the condition of the book.
Right.
And then I received the book, and it's like, what the hell? This looks almost perfect already. This doesn't look like it's damaged. I was expecting, big old giant dents and. Yeah,
I'll do more damage just reading the book.
Exactly. So I was, more than pleased at what I ended up getting. So there are, different approaches to how to handle overstock. And I know the whole idea of not wanting overstock to become your new furniture. I don't know if you heard, but there's still talk about, doing a comic book convention. It's called For the Fans Fest. It's looking to be roughly fall of 2021.
Okay.
Depending on, progress of the coronavirus situation. it was going to be May 2021, but things are dragging on, it seems, with the governments and stuff longer than it should. So it was pushed to fall, and basically it's ComicsGate, Fandom Menace, and Weeb Wars, all in one convention.
Wow.
There was talk. I don't know if it's still on the table, but for anyone who's a ComicsGate creative who's released a book, they might have an opportunity to get their the cost of their table rental covered for free.
Really?
Because you've got a product to sell, and that could be a potential venue to sell excess copies, other merchandise related to your properties.
Right.
The really trippy thing about it all is the goal is to crowdfund the comic book convention.
Really?
So it's going to be an Indiegogo campaign where it depends. The success of it depends on how much backing it gets.
Right.
And some of the perks are going to be like special events, like have a beer with Malin, or have a drink with Cecil.
Right. Right.
If you're interested in that particular tier, then you buy that perk and back it. And then it sounds like there's going to be like a convention. I mean, like a main stage, if you will.
Okay.
Where, the bigger shows will, actually conduct their shows live on the show floor.
Okay.
So you might have an EVS live stream straight from the convention. You might have a Jack show.
Yeah.
A Pop XP show, maybe. That kind of stuff. And we're trying to get in. Well, I'm not actively involved. I want to be involved in some form or fashion, but it's kind of being spearheaded by EVS. And there's talk about trying to get special guests. Like, it would be cool if we could actually score William Shatner.
Oh, wow.
But Fabio.
Yeah.
EVS is one of the EVS's favorite singers.
Yes.
So for the Fans Fest, roughly fall 2021, if all goes well and the COVID thing's over by then, and in Orlando, Florida. Okay. So yeah,
that's easy for me to get to from Houston.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That sounds really exciting, and I hope to be able to make it. So I got to save my money.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's so many darn campaigns I wanted back.
Oh, my goodness, there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
So many good ones, and there's still a number of them that I'm like, I still haven't backed that campaign.
I know.
So now I'm looking at dates, trying to see like, okay, is that is my time running out on that campaign? Right.
Yes. I don't know if you can tell based on my screen share, but in this browser are all the campaigns I'm trying to monitor. So everyone has a tab. So I think I have maybe 50 to 100 tabs.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
No, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so they all look like little blips on the screen, but you can sort of make out little blips of white and red. And so the things I have to follow up on and double check on and see the progress, see how far they are through funding, and hope that they're not closed already.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me drop this link for this awesome book, Black Tiger.
Mhm.
That again.
And if you wouldn't mind, before we head out, I dropped you in the private chat just a link for the book that we currently have. We have a preview page up for, but we haven't launched.
Is this considered the early sign up to get on
Yes,
the
sir.
mailing list?
Yes, sir. So this is the sign up list that Eric was asking about. Well, he was actually asking about the next Black Tiger book, but this is for the next book that we're going to be releasing, which is in November. It's in the same universe. It's called Magna, The Last Pantheon. So this is just expanding the universe, world building, which is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Especially with doing it with awesome people, which I've been blessed to be able to work with.
man, you have some serious talent here. Magna, The Last Pantheon.
Yeah. If you use the link in the private chat, that'll take you right to the.
Oops, I wrote too long a description and it chopped off the YouTube one.
Yeah. This will take you to the Indiegogo page.
Early sign up list on the next book.
Yes, sir.
I gotta work on not being so verbose.
Oh man, that's the fun of it.
All right, there we go. Now it fits.
Yes, exactly.
Let me add that to my list of scripts. Yeah, so that's the next book. Same world, same universe, rather.
That's right.
Oops, dang it! I typoed. It's Magna, not Mana. Shoot.
Yeah.
Magna. All right, there we go.
There we go. Yes, sir.
Magna.
Magna. See?
It is
Third
good.
time's the charm.
Yeah, exactly. So much for my editing skills. It almost sounds like
If you
magma.
magma. I always do that. My kids are like, why do you do that? Magma.
Seriously, only a $500 campaign goal. Production's already been financed. The 140-page issue. You all right?
Yeah, I think that was somebody in the background.
All right.
Luckily, it wasn't me falling out.
Yeah, from being drunk. Yeah. Already financed. Additional 18 pages made. Sweet. Campaign dollars go to printing, shipping, and stretch goodness. Speaking of which, time to stretch, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 4-page, full color collage wraparound cover.
Yeah, and that's what you can kind of see the way it ended up kind of being in the book. So it's like you have a page, boom, boom, and then boom.
Dang. Whoa. That's sweet. That is nice. Drawn by the man, the myth, Rod Super Looper, with colors by the incomparable Articide for all graphic novels.
Yes, indeed.
And then you give
that's all, folks.
Background into your team.
Yeah.
Other ways you can help. Promote the book, definitely. Hashtag Nerdtastic.
Yes, sir.
Include that hashtag Nerdtastic in your promotion, if you would. So let's check out these perks. Dang, hard case tiger. So this is your featured tier.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I always bring it up with everyone I speak with. I love when there's a featured tier. You'll find that some people don't have the time, or in some cases, don't have the energy to read through the entire campaign. And sometimes some campaigns are so long that they don't want to take the time.
That's right.
And it helps to have a featured tier because, as I like to put it, you get the most bang for your buck. It's not necessarily the cheapest tier. It's not necessarily the highest end tier.
Right.
Somewhere in the middle. And quite oftentimes it means that you're going to get some extra goodies, extra tchotchkes. Maybe you'll get a variant cover or something like that. So let's check this out. So we start off with the hard case tiger as the featured perk.
Yeah, so you get the hardcover book, and what I don't have to show is the case. So it's actually a slip case with wraparound art. So you get the hardcover book in a slip case.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So that is, and just from a printing, perspective of just production, when you do kind of like the low volumes that we've done, that's literally just our cost. Because with the hard case and with the slip case, but that for me, that was just kind of I really wanted that just as a comic book nerd. I wanted for anyone that really wanted a, like me, that wants a collector's edition.
Yeah.
I wanted, so you have that hard case, and the hard case has the wraparound cover. So I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I'd love that.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds really sweet. That covers issues 1 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
These dimensions, 6 5/8 by 10 1/8. Is that
That's just regular
book size?
Yeah, that's just regular comic book size.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Because I don't have it straight in my head. How the dimensions correlate. It's great that you have them. It's great that you have them here, but in my mind, I just haven't made the correlation of, what the dimensions are for a traditional comic book versus A4 versus A5,
Right,
and so on. Because I'm backing books from Australia. I'm backing books from UK.
yeah.
Yeah.
My wife was asking me. She's like, "What are these foreign charges?" It's like, okay, that book was from Australia. That book's from, you name it. I think New Zealand. I mean, it's like you name it. It's like you get the extra charge.
Yeah.
International books.
Yeah, there's like I guess Visa charges this extra fee. I don't know if other card issuers do the same.
Yeah.
I've only seen it on Visa where there's this additional fee that comes my way and I get it like an email notification,
Mm-hmm.
or it comes up on my bank statement for like 25 cents or less each time. It's like, what the hell?
It's like, is that really necessary?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like they're not already rich.
It's like we're taking that extra 25 cents.
Yeah, nickel and diming people to death.
Literally.
Even make them even richer.
Yes.
Ultimate power. All right, so then we've got the paperback version.
So the paperback version, $25 plus shipping. You get everything. So you get the wraparound cover. You get the 6 Greathorn, covers / spreads inside, and you get the full story inside. Wanted to deliver a tier that's very economic. That for anybody that wants to be able to pick up the book and to read it, and maybe isn't going to be able to get a collector's edition. So for $25, you're getting a lot of story. And that's what I wanted to make sure we were doing, giving people a lot of bang for their buck.
The hardcover version also has the 6 cover.
Yes,
print.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So no matter what book you get, you're getting everything.
Nice.
You know, I figured with a story, you know, we wanted to just deliver, especially in our first campaign, just wanted to deliver, hey, whatever option you pick, you're getting everything. So
All right. So the hardcover, the future tier, that comes with the slipcover.
that's right.
But this paperback one is a paperback book only, right?
Just the paperback book.
All right. Right on.
Yeah, it's just a paperback book.
All right.
And then the next one, which is the hard boiled, is just the hard book but without the slipcase. So you get the hardcover book but without the slipcase.
Gotcha. Next one is the Premium Tiger.
Yeah, so you get, along with the hard cover book with the slipcase, you also get a piece of original art. Someone picked that up, and they picked the page from the very top, the one where Black Tiger is, suspended, and that one, and the dragon is coming. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that. Yeah, this one. Someone picked that page already.
Oh, okay.
As the original page.
Out of curiosity, in this tier, are there any double page spreads that are eligible?
So, believe it or not, this book has no double page spreads.
Wow.
So we took care of that in the next book. So Rod was like, "That's unacceptable." So he's like, he put his full art director hat on. He's got some really nice double page spreads in the upcoming book. But believe it or not, this is 172 pages. There are no double page spreads, and there's only in the course of the story, I think that one at the top is the only full page spread.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Other than like the covers, I think that's the only full page spread. Okay, that's not true. There's one other full page spread. No, I think that's true. Okay, so there's 2 full page spreads in the whole book.
Well, aren't all the pages full page spreads?
Well, what I mean by that, I shouldn't say full page. I say splash pages.
Oh,
there's only 2 splash pages.
Is the other splash page? All right, gotcha. Where the image takes up the entire page instead of
exactly
having frames.
There's one towards the end, and I don't want to give away.
Okay, got it.
Otherwise, all the other images, all the other pages have multiple, panels, or, in this page, with those 2 pages, they're kind of like collage type panels, but all the other pages have multiple panels.
Man, this is so freaking cool. Wow. I'm just like so amazed. I'm like taken aback. So you get the hardcover graphic novel, you get the slipcase, you get the original pencil page, and digital issue access. So you get access to the web comic version, right?
Exactly. So you can go to our website, beyondtimecomics.com, and you can get access to the books digitally there.
So is it one of those things where you input an unlock code or like a serial number or something?
Unfortunately, it's not that sophisticated. People register, and then they just ping me to let me know that they've registered, and then I'll give them access to those issues.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, something that I don't know, you might be able to answer for me because I haven't figured it out. Oftentimes on Indiegogo campaigns, I don't know if it's immediately after you're done funding or towards the end of the funding stage, but there's this thing where it shows like a discounted reduced price, which in my opinion is designed to kind of generate more interest and traffic.
Yeah.
Because people are always looking for a deal. And from what I'm told by creators, before you even launch an Indiegogo campaign, it asks you, what's the retail price and then what's the discounted price. So
Right.
from the get-go, you're required to input two values. What I guess you might say it's what you ideally like to charge versus what you think you can realistically charge, or or something along those lines. But I noticed that yours doesn't have that at all. Did it do that earlier in the campaign?
And I think it's because I don't know when they started doing the discount thing. So like for instance, the new campaign that I have a page up for, just a sign up page up for.
Uh-huh.
So as I started putting that actual campaign page together, it was required. So I think I just put this campaign, published this campaign before that was a requirement for the campaign, because now I have to do it.
Okay.
For my upcoming campaigns.
Gotcha.
Oh, hey, I see Tank Ferret. Hey, what's going on, Tank Ferret?
Yeah, welcome.
What's going on?
Good to have you.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of that good wrestling action.
Oh man.
Some Black Tiger wrestling.
Yeah. Excuse me. The problem is if I can manage to squeak out a backing for this tier, I wouldn't know where to start in terms of picking out the art page.
Well, what I've done too for some folks is like with Rod, we'll just let them see like the pages, so we'll just, because there's over 100 pages.
Yeah.
To choose from. So he kind of has it all kind of well cataloged, so people can kind of go through and pick pages.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's crazy.
Yeah. But still, it's crazy because I like so many of these pages so dang much.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, at first Rod was like trying to figure out which pages he was going to keep, and I was like, okay, you gotta put a minimum on the pages you're going to keep. So he's like, I'm going to keep all 4. He's keeping all 4 of the wraparound, all 4 of the images that make the wraparound.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, then after that, he said everything else was fair game. So somebody took the one at the top, that one splash page, right? That one right there. Someone took that one.
Yeah, as far as a wraparound, you wouldn't want to break up the set.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense that you'd want those 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I like this, but it is a cool image, especially since you got both of the gals plus the dragon. But I love these other interiors too.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The girl fight. This is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
The dream sequence. And I love this fight scene. There's another image that you highlighted in your video where she's doing this high kick. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
And I love to be able to see that close up. That is so cool, man.
That is a great image. And what I'm actually going to do on the next Black Tiger campaign is that's going to be one of the cover options.
Oh, nice. That's going to be awesome. That is so sweet. Let me see. So, what do we got here? Definitely want everyone to check out this short movie from this company.
Yeah, go to Beyond Time Inc. on YouTube and enjoy it. Watch the short movie. There's also a 10-minute animatic for another property, Magna. Enjoy those.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Is it kind of like your trailer, or is it like a teaser?
Well, this was actually, so think of it like we did it animation style, but instead of like 24 or 30 frames a second, there's a couple frames a second. So it's voiced over, has music, um, and just giving kind of a 10-minute, peek into that world.
Oh, all right, nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this short film includes the actor who plays Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat. And tell us again the female lead.
So that was Angela Fong. She used to be a WWE diva.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that is so cool. All right.
Yeah. And Robin's awesome. Robin's amazing. He's just Robin Shu is just an amazing guy. He's, I can't say enough about him.
This is the link for the book, and you're down to like, did you say 20 copies of the soft cover and 20 copies of the hardcover?
Yeah, so we're around a dozen-ish of
Oh,
each.
a dozen-ish. All right.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere around a dozen left of each.
Whoo-wee. Yeah, you don't want to miss out on this. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, do your best to back this baby while it's still in demand, because once they sell out a product, then they're closing this sucker down. This is a website, beyondtimecomics.com, where you'll see all their properties.
That's right.
Then they've got this new project in the works that they're working on. We've got the early sign up.
Yeah, and people can watch a video. If they go there, you can check it out. So you'll get a really good flavor for what the project's about. It's fully produced. So the book is complete. So just kind of like with this one, we want to make sure there's no one feels, concerned about fulfillment. So the production on that book is complete as well.
Oh my gosh, is it really? Oh,
yes, sir.
Oh, holy moly! Yeah, that's one of the things in early. That's one of the things about people who are on their first or second campaign. Well, usually the first. Potential backers are reluctant to back a campaign because they've never seen the creator deliver.
Exactly.
But once you get at least one under your belt, then people start to become comfortable and go, hey, yeah, this looks good. It's arriving in people's hands. People are enjoying the product. I think I'll back the second one, and hopefully get a chance to back the whatever issues I missed originally.
Exactly. And I get it, because I'm sure we've all backed stuff that didn't come to fruition, kind of. So I understand.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it seems like I've backed so many projects that I've lost track of what I've received and what I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are a few out there that, haven't come yet. So that's something the side project I have to work on.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind
of the inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. The next project they have in the lineup is Magna, The Last Pantheon.
That's right.
So there's the link I just dropped for the early sign up. So get ready for their next big project. It's going to be huge.
I appreciate everyone checking it out. Really do. Thank you.
And we're going to play the trailer again for Black Tiger. What a freaking cool campaign.
Thank you, man.
And now that you have some more experience on Indiegogo under your belt, now you have a better idea how to run it.
Mm-hmm.
As you may have heard on other channels, what seems to be a good approach is you do an initial 30-day funding campaign. Actually, you do an early sign up like what you're doing for Magna, Then you get that interest building up on the sign up list
Right.
as you update people on roughly how many people have signed up. People get giddy and excited with anticipation. Then when you launch the book, you get a little boost or a spike of interest because it's also new and everything.
Right.
And the campaign is finally live. Then it might taper down a little bit in interest, and then towards the end of the first 30 days, then you get another spike of interest because the don't want to miss out mentality.
Right.
And then you conclude your first 30 days of funding. Then you start your second 30 days of funding. You get another spike of interest and backers. And then it kind of starts to taper down again. Then towards the end of the next 30 days, you get another spike. And then you go in demand, especially for early, young creators. I think in demand is the way to go. There are some creators, including John Malin, who go for the value, the limited number of copies, driving the value of the product.
Right.
It is also an awesome approach, and I respect that. But for those who don't yet have an established fan base, those who are still pretty new to the game, or are new creators, I think it's better to kind of use the in-demand feature as kind of a safety net, because you can continue receiving funds through people who couldn't back you within the first 60 days.
Right. Exactly.
And like Malin said himself, he potentially is putting $10,000 to $20,000. He's leaving that on $10,000 to $20,000 on the table as a result of ending 2 30-day funding campaigns without doing any in-demand whatsoever.
Right.
There are some other creators who are also doing the similar business model, which is perfectly fine too. Whatever works for you.
And thanks, Tank Ferret.
No FOMO for me. I signed up.
At the end of the day, I guess if folks already have kind of that critical mass of fans and they feel good about it, that's good. I think, for me, just like I'm discovering books literally all the time, I'm hoping that people are still discovering, Black Tiger and getting and discovering Magna and seeing like, hey, this seems like something cool that I'd like to pick up.
Totally. Yeah, I really dig it. I love this book. I am real excited about that. Let's go ahead and run the trailer again.
Yes, sir.
Tiger. 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 Tiger.
Yes, sir. Oh,
I
man.
need to ask you for clarification. I only just realized this now, but there was a shot of pallbearers carrying a coffin out
Right.
of a church, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
Can 4 people typically carry a casket? Because when I used to helped carry a casket once or twice, I think we had 6 or 8 people.
Usually like at least 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I saw 4 in the.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
That's just me being super picky. And then when it was this,
They're metahumans and super strength.
oh, that's true. All right, after that, and all right, my bad. The other thing was the spinning covers. It initially almost felt like vertigo.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, it makes you like, feel like you're gonna throw up. It was one of those things like in concept, but like this will be really cool. If you watch it too many times, you're like, okay, I'm gonna puke.
Yeah, but then I reasoned it by thinking, all right, well maybe these are ninja stars.
There you go.
So
I mean, like some of the things I tried, I think worked out well. I like the layering of the artists.
Oh
and
yeah,
the spinning covers. Yeah, they could have just like gone into place. They didn't need to spin. That was a little bit too much.
Yeah, but I love the overlay part. That was my favorite part, where you lay down the pencils, you displayed the credits for the penciler. You lay down the inks, you displayed the credits for the inker. You lay down the colors, credits for the colorist. Then the lettering, credits for the letterer. That worked out really well. I really dug that. Initially, for some reason, I thought the first part felt like it was running long, but then I look at the total video length, it's only 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So I guess it's not as long as it felt, but it's very informational, and it's good that it includes, important details like, hardcover and number of pages.
Yeah, Malin thought it was too long.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
All right.
The video under 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than those that are like 8 to 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, at that point, that's overkill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if anything, I'm thinking you might be able to shave off a portion of the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you want to showcase a bunch of the artwork, but that's also what the main story page of your campaign is going to show off. So,
exactly. That's very true. Yeah.
So you might be able to shave it off there, if you were to have redone it. But just things to think about for your next campaign.
Yeah, I think with the next for Magna, I made the video shorter.
Okay, all right, right on.
Yeah,
fantastic. So
I'm learning. I'm learning.
Oh yeah,
bit by bit.
It's a constantly learning.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Situation. Yeah, I mean, but learning is fun. So,
Yeah.
it's exciting. It keeps you growing and keeps life from being boring.
I see Tank Fair was asking about inspiration. I loved old Hong Kong kung fu movies. Watched those back in the day. Used to watch kung fu theater back in the day, so you'd watch like these old, kung fu movies. Always loved comic books, so just being able to marry the two, marrying comic books with Hong Kong style kung fu action, and even, when it comes to like the stuff with the gangsters, a little bit of John Woo, kind of style of action. So I love that. I love that kind of just kind of the martial artsy dance feel to the fight sequences. So I definitely wanted to bring that to the table, and that's one of the things that Rod, as the penciler, was great with. Just helping us to really hone in on whether it was using movie references, like looking at I love like the Jet Li Once Upon a Time in China series.
Oh man, yeah, that's so cool.
Oh man, and just so many good high quality martial arts things where we're just kind of picking sequences and different things that we loved. So this has just been a complete labor of love, getting to put martial arts and superheroes and metahumans and gangsters, all into one world. Yeah, man, kung fu theater, baby. Woo.
So awesome. Yeah. And earlier you noted Ip Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And just like I was saying, I would just rewatch those 4 movies. Just so much good, just kung fu action. It's so fun, when you watch it, and just some of the battles, like me battling on like a circular table, or but I mean, just like you got to keep your balance while you're fighting. I mean, all these things. I saw there's so many moves that I want to take, that I want to steal. I remember from Once Upon a Time in China, when we were Jet Li, he got kicked, and he was going to get kicked down some stairs, but he rolled on the banister. He rolled on the banister instead of like falling down the stairs. He rolled on the banister part. And I was just like, come on, man, that's too awesome. I was like, come on.
I don't remember that scene. Oh my god.
Oh man. There's just so many, so much good action. That just wanting to bring some of that to the table and just, enjoy it. So when you kind of freeze and you really enjoy the art, you can kind of see some cool things. That's what I hope people are able to do. Aside from just reading the story, enjoying it, going back and just really looking at the art and just really seeing the intricacies and the love that was put in by the artists.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what I was doing all night. It's like, whoa, holy cow, this is so cool. I just love it. I am going to give you the stage. Would you do the honors and share with everyone in the world how you can be found on social media?
Indeed. So you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Beyond Time Inc. You can also find my YouTube page at Beyond Time Inc., where you can watch the 20+ minute video with Robin Shu, Liu Kang, and Angela Fong and Animatic that we put together. You can also on Facebook you can find me at Beyond Time Comics, and website is beyondtimecomics.com, where you can see the different properties that we have in digital format.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you having me on, man. I had a great time.
No, my pleasure. Yeah, I had a blast, and you're pretty phenomenal and amazing.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You can find me on Facebook and YouTube under WyzGyz Entertainment. You can find me on Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets. I guess I'm semi banned on Twitter because
What?
Because, well, I mean, people are having trouble finding me on their timelines. They've kind of half censored me. They did a half-ass censor. So I'm limited in my reach nowadays.
I'm telling you, this censoring nonsense has got to stop. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's absurd.
I totally agree. You can find me on Twitch at WyzGyz Twitches, on Parlay at WyzGyz Parlays. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll probably be doing a 200 sub celebration stream soon. I think I'm around 211 or 213. So we'll probably
That's
be
awesome, by the way.
probably.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Probably be eating a couple cream pies.
Woo!
I'm all about food here. And let's see here. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Post in the chat. I mean, in the comments below, what your favorite part about the book is. What you're most excited about. Black Tiger: Legacy of Fury, the graphic novel, and definitely score yourself a copy before they run out. We're looking at roughly a dozen soft covers remaining and a dozen hardcovers remaining.
That's it.
And this freaking looks sweet. You do not want to miss it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, everyone in chat, for joining us. Thanks for being so cool. Thanks for everyone who watches us on replay. And thanks to our very special guest tonight, John Hervey.
Thank you.
We are ending the broadcast today in 3, 2,